Hello class, I'm going to continue with this tree presentation, and in this video we're actually going to make the shape of the tree, and it's going to mainly use basic drawing tools, but then the Roughen tool actually a couple times. And this is actually the shape of the tree, believe it or not, before the leaves are applied. And I have it up here now, and I'll show you how to construct it. I just have it here so I can again make it the right size and just remember how I sort of did this tree originally. And the way I did this is the first thing I'm going to do, because if you're following the videos you might still be on this brush pattern. It just gets a little complicated to work in that way, so I'm going to go to my brushes here and then select the basic line tool so I can draw in regular lines. And I'm going to select an oval, and I'm just going to draw a vertical oval, which sort of would work for you too, but it's a little too regular. So this oval I happen to be starting, it looks like it's a little over 2 inches long, and it's about 1, 2, 3 inches tall, just to give you a sense of scale of how I'm doing these numbers. Once this is all done, it can really be scaled pretty easily up to any size that you need it to be, but since you might be following along with the numbers, you want to stay close to the sizes I'm giving you here. So anyway, I'm just going to edit this oval a little bit. One thing I'm going to do to make this little thing come in here, I'm just going to go to my pen tool, add a line there, and then use my white arrow or direct select, and I'll just pull that in a little bit, and I can play with the handles to sort of change the shapes. I'm not exactly sure what my handle orientations are, but just to give it a little bit of a rough pattern. And the other thing I did was sort of flatten out the bottom, or make the bottom wider, because trees are sort of wider on the bottom. So I did that by sort of really stretching out the handle on here, even just sort of a little asymmetry on that side, and then maybe just coming in a little bit on these side panels here, maybe pulling this up, and then again you can tweak it in the end. Because this pattern is so random and we're going to apply a couple other techniques to it, I don't think you have to be perfectly perfect on getting this thing together, but something like that might begin to work well. And you can sort of see the handles that I've used on this guy as I go through, which is just another example. This one's actually here. So that's step one. That's easy. That's all sort of basic Illustrator stuff. I'm going to make this a little wider. Probably taking too long on this. Now the next thing we want to do is we really want to turn this into a better tree shape. We're going to use Roughen to do that, which is an Illustrator effect. So we're going to select this shape. We're actually going to do it 2 steps. We're going to turn this shape even to more of a rough shape, because trees are fractals. I don't want to get into the theory of fractals, but it's sort of the same shape repeating over and over again. So we can start to apply that. In some of the other trees I've shown, just use this basic technique to get there by actually applying the same tool more than once, sort of at multiple scales, right? So I'm going to go to Roughen, and I'm going to do the big scale first, or work my way down. So I'm going to set this first tab of Roughen to 13.85. I'm going to keep this relative. I'm going to go to my detail level. I'm going to put 13.18, which again, you can play with these numbers. It just happens to be with the one tree that I happen to use. And I'm going to go to smooth. All right, I'm going to go to preview, and you're going to see what happens is it sort of turns the tree into these things. If I went to corner, so it makes it sharp, but of course a tree isn't necessarily sharp, so I like to use smooth there. And the key to this is that we are going to apply Roughen a second time. All right, because to really get the effect of this. So I'm going to go to Effects. I'm going to go to Distort Transform. I'm going to go to Roughen again, and it's going to ask me, do I want to apply the effect again? And yes, I do want to apply it again. Well, I'm going to use different numbers this time. I'm going to use, because I'm doing it at a different scale, right? And that's the key. I'm going to do 3.78. I'm going to go to Relative. I'm going to go to 16.68 there, and again I'm going to go to smooth, and we can go to preview, and we can see it starts to sort of get this shape, and it's looking much more like a tree. I'm going to say OK. And when we look at the appearance, we can see we've got these two things there. There's that one. It's sort of, I think this sort of rougher shape will work better with the leaves because it's scattering around, but the reality is that almost works well for a potential basic tree. And we got that one applied on top of it. And we can see in my original one I've got those two there, and if I turn these both on, it actually has that shape. This one's actually working better, but the interesting thing about this tree is sort of a preview. When you change this shape, just by simply maybe taking black arrow and pulling it down, it completely changes the shape of these randomly. So it's a really easy way to get the same tree, just a little tweak can make this sort of random changing of shapes. Now, the other thing that I did to this is if I turn this one off here for a second, you can see I actually have I made this sort of cross pattern to start filling leaves more towards the center, because this is only going to give leaves sort of on the outside of that. So what I'll do is I'll come in and I'll just take, see if I were to sort of copy what I did before. It sort of came down and came up in a V pattern like that, and it came up in a cross V pattern like that. This is going to fill in the center. I think I'll just use my graphic style here, so I'll take this guy, throw him in the graphic style, so that I can select these two guys and put them on the squiggly thing too. So if I come back to sort of my original one and turn those back on, you can see I've sort of emulated that shape there. So the last thing to do is really just to apply this pattern to this. It's the same way. I'll select both of these sort of simultaneously. I'll come up to brushes and I'll hit this brush that I made last time, and we can see that it now is looking like a bunch of leaves. If there's a hole in there, just add another line, or come in here. It gets hard with these leaves to work, right? But if I came in here, maybe did direct select white arrow, if I sort of pulled that down, I might be able to sort of get more leaves across. Here, maybe, like I said, maybe I have to add another line. I can add another line that way. Go apply the graphic style and apply the brush technique to it, and I can start to sort of fill it in as needed there. So that is that. The last thing I did on this one, which will really be important when we go to the other thing, is I just grouped them together. So I selected all that line work together and I made it a group. That way when I scale it and select it in the crop mode, it just becomes a little bit easier to control. So this video took a little bit longer than I thought, so we're going to go on to talk about how we start to think about the colors in the next video. Alright, see you there.